Let's try this again.
It popped up on my Facebook.
It's now streaming live on Facebook.
Oh, all righty. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
It's great to be here. Let's wait a few more seconds for folks to join us. It's great to be here. All righty. So welcome all. I know we're just at the top of the hour. My name is Coach Kate. I'm super excited to be here tonight. I am joined by Coach Gina. Hello, Gina.
Hello, everyone.
And two wonderful and successful participants. We have Karen and Susan joining us.
Hi.
And Susan has a little support joining as well. I love it. So this evening is going to be a lot of fun, and we are discussing getting back on track. This is always a useful conversation, especially now. School has started. My baby and third went back this morning, so finally all my kiddos are back to school. We know that summer is just behind us, and the Delta variable is incredibly unpredictable, and certainly weather situations seem even more crazy today than ever before. So we have a lot going on. And it is really periodically helpful for us to really ground ourselves and get back to some basics, because these are challenging times. And these are times when it would be really easy for us to not prioritize ourselves. So let's take a moment and see who has joined us.
So it looks like we have quite a crew watching. So I'm going to go ahead and say hello to Jessica. Hi, Jessica. And I see, let's see, we've got Jill watching. We've got Sherry, and we've got a whole bunch of people from HMR Natick. Go Natick, woo! We've got Larry joining us. Hi, Larry. Tanya. And Bob is here, and we know where. Should we do it? Yes. Bob is from
Cucamonga.
Hi, Bob. I'm so glad you're here with us. People are still coming on. Dwayne is here. Lori's here from California. Hey, Rick. Rick is here. Gary's here. So yeah, we've got a lot of people popping on. This is great. Hi, Diane. This is wonderful.
This is awesome.
Welcome,
Coach
everybody.
Rick has joined us. We have Don, Diane. So folks, the theme of the evening is getting back on track. And if this is something you need to do, this evening's event is for you. And certainly it's going to be a great opportunity for some folks to wipe the slate clean. And if you're just looking to, of course, stay on track, this event is also for you. And we know that wiping the slate clean can often feel easier said than done. And the reality is that we can really be hard on ourselves. And wanted us to take a moment for you to really think about, what does being hard on yourself look like? What does it sound like? What do you say to yourself? And folks, let's keep this G-rated.
Yeah.
Gina, what does being hard on yourself sound like? And I'd love the audience to take a moment to share too.
Yeah, so while they're getting their comments ready, you know, I often find myself saying things like, really, like, here we go again. It's like, how many times are you going to do this before you realize you can't do this, or you need to do it differently? And yeah, just you kind of beat yourself up and you get in that bad space. So it's no fun, for sure. It definitely doesn't feel comfortable.
Absolutely. It can sort of feel like, why am I putting my hand on the hot stove again today?
Right.
And I did this yesterday, and I did it the day before. Like, why am I in this cycle over and over and over? And folks watching, if you have any thoughts about what it feels like for you to be hard on yourself, we'd love for you to take a moment to share. And we just want you to know that you are not alone. None of us are perfect. Even though we're going to hear from two superstars today, none of us are perfect. And it's really important that we give ourselves some grace. And we really think about, how would we treat a loved one? How would we talk to a friend? And can we have that compassion to ourselves? Because it's going to be helpful for us to then move forward.
Yeah, Kate, we're
So-
getting some comments on this. So Coach Rick is saying, where did the time go? I didn't shop or do PA. I'm so unorganized. Or Amy Williams is saying, why can't I just commit already? I know I hate feeling like this.
Yeah.
So I think we can all relate to those conversations in our own heads, right?
Absolutely. Yep, certainly. So we want to talk about getting back on track, and we chose two folks who are going to give us some insight to that, and we want our audience to participate as well. So Gina, let's give you an opportunity to introduce Karen.
Yes, absolutely. So Karen, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you
And,
for asking me to come.
Yeah, and before you get into sharing your story, I thought it would be fun to let the audience know that you have a family connection to HMR. So 32 years ago, when I started working with HMR in Natick, Karen's dad was one of my very first clients. And he did very well in phase one. We didn't call it phase one back then, but in weight loss. And he has gone on to keep off most of the weight that he's lost and continues to practice his healthy lifestyle habits. So I thought it would be a fun, cool connection to let people know that your dad was in the program as well. So with that as the intro for you, Karen, I'd love to have you share your story, a little bit about before HMR, your time in phase one, what that experience was like for you, transitioning to phase two. And then more importantly, sort of sticking to the theme, you've done a really great job this summer of getting back on track after COVID, having a little bit of a weight gain and then turning it around. And you're actually down like 9 pounds over the summer months. So you can speak a little bit to all of that. And so I'll let you go now. I'll give you the floor.
If it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't have known about the program because he still sees the doctor that's affiliated with our clinic, and we were there. And I had actually just gone out with my nephew for his birthday and had taken some pictures. And when I saw them, I was horrified and thought, why did nobody say anything to me? Like, this is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I've never been one to be in pictures. I've never liked pictures of myself, no matter what my weight. So when I ever saw that picture, I was mortified. And I had taken Dad to the doctors. And I talked to the receptionist there a little bit, and, you know, she was overweight, and we were talking about weight loss, and she's like, oh, HMR is just too expensive for me. I was like, all right. So I talked to Dad on the way home, and then I called, and my daughter came with me to meet Gina and to do the introduction, and I started that following week. Phase one was easy in that the weight came off quicker than I had expected because I had been struggling so much with trying to get the weight off. So it was extremely easy. I had no decisions. It was just make my shakes and go. Gina used to joke with me all the time that I was away all the time. My first full day on HMR is actually on Cape Cod and on vacation with 14 people for 4 days. And I had a big weight loss that first week and I stuck to it. So I think that really helped me stay in the box. When I started to trail out of the box, Gina was really great in transitioning me very slowly into phase two. And I did struggle going into phase two because I think the timing of it was COVID. I thought it was going to be easier, right? You think, oh, I'm home. I can prepare my shake. I've got ice. I've got everything I need. But I also had people cooking breakfast, cooking lunch, cooking dinner. I had all these smells that I didn't have at work. And I struggled. But I continued to go to class every week. I never stopped going. There were weeks that I looked at Gina and said, I'm not getting on that scale. And she said, you are. So continued going and going and going. And Gina did a 10-week attendance challenge this summer and had us all set a goal. And my goal was to actually lose weight this summer, not gain over the summer. And she really pushed me to do more fruits and vegetables. And I stopped thinking about how many fruits versus how many vegetables and just started using the HMR app to track my fruits and vegetables. So I didn't really count which was fruit, which was vegetable. I doubled my fruits and vegetables and have successfully been losing ever since.
Yeah, that's great. It's
So
great.
for me, getting back on track was basically attending class, listening, and really letting things sink in and protecting what I had already lost and not let it go up. If I hadn't been attending, I would have gained the 40 back, not just the 10 that I gained, because it kept me in check every week. And as much as I did struggle, it was easier to stay in the box for 2 days and then maybe struggle out a little bit and then know I could call Gina and struggle back in. So for me, getting back on track was all about attending and having the support there and not letting the weight get out of control and finding out how to get it to come back down and get into action and move it that way.
Yeah. Attendance is so important, right? Yeah.
So much of tonight is going to be about getting in action. And I hope folks who are on are having a chance to look at the feed, because so many people can just relate to those negative thoughts in our head that can happen. I just wanted to comment that Larry had mentioned self-rejection and disappointment spirals me down in the opposite direction, and really taking those positive steps. And, you know, we have other folks chiming in too. It sounds like, Karen, even when things were challenging for you, you just kept attending and kept knowing that you could make some positive steps in the right direction for yourself.
I did. And I talked to Gina last week, actually, in class about, you know, what we learned over this 10-week challenge specifically. And I think specifically for me, a lot of it was looking at the positive. Like we'll ask in class, like, how did your week go? And it's our instinct, at least for me, to go to the negative of what I did wrong during the week, not the positive. And that's where repeat attendance for me has just sunk in, that focus on the positive. Because, you know, Gina also has heard the positive all week, and she'll say, but you did this instead of this. It's just training myself to really try to, I don't think positive all the time. I still beat myself up. But it's easier. I call it the hamster wheel. You know, you get on it and you can't get off. And I'm trying to get off of it more and more. And I still get on it occasionally, but I jump off of it a lot quicker. I take it one meal at a time when I'm having trouble. That helps me get back on track as well. Planning out my day helps me get back on track. Planning my times of day that are hard for me, like the nighttime eating, which is really good for me.
I wanted to just jump in. Jennifer said that she feels that. She says, don't miss your weekly meeting no matter what. It has saved me from myself so many times during my journey for getting back on track. So just a reinforcement to exactly what you're saying, Karen. Really great.
And Jennifer M also said, I'm still learning to cut out the negative comments in my head when things don't go according to plan, which was amazing. Wanted to take an opportunity to introduce Susan. And I'm super excited to introduce you, Susan, because I am a huge fan of yours. Mom to mom,
I'm a fan of yours as well.
Thank you. Busy mom, working with the kids. And I just really appreciate you continuing to share your story, posting on our page. And just to tell folks a little bit about Susan, if you haven't read her testimonial, Susan lost 73 pounds in phase 1. And you have actually been in phase 2 since January of 2020. And phase 2 has its ups and downs, of course. And I wanted you to, like Karen did, walk us through your story a little bit in terms of what brought you to HMR, what has your experience been like in phase 1 and phase 2? And then, of course, we want you to be able to share a bit about turning things around. I had a chance to peek at your history, and it looks like in the last 2 months, you're down 7 pounds.
Yeah. So thank you. It's always just such an honor to be asked to join. So this is a really busy week for me as a teacher, but I wanted to be here. I think this is a really important part of my life. I joined HMR originally in April 2019 because I was just at my heaviest weight ever, even after 2 pregnancies, and just I knew I needed to do something, and I just wanted to like give control away, like just have a program that was already all kind of figured out for me. And because I tried it on my own and it hadn't worked, and I'm like the cliche roller coaster. My weight was always going up or going down, and every time I lost weight, I would gain it all back. So I joined HMR, like I said, April 2019. I had a really successful time on phase 1. I didn't remember, it was exactly 73 pounds because I actually lost a few more and hit 80 pounds of weight loss in total. So I lost a little bit more in phase 2. But as soon as I got to that low, I slowly but surely started to gain weight back. And it was slower than in other experiences I'd had in the past. And I almost didn't notice it because I was still very active in phase 2. I also believe, like Karen, that attending my attendance is on, Zoom now, but not in person. But I was still very active with the app and the Facebook group and everything, and still doing what I thought I needed to do. But I was seeing my weight going up anyway, to the point where I gained back like 20 of the 80 pounds that I had lost. And finally, I kind of had a little heart-to-heart with myself, and I kind of had to come to terms with the fact that you can't keep secrets from your body. Like, you might try to think of ways to kind of, cheat the system. You can't cheat your weight. Like your body knows calories in versus calories out, and it's going to, show on the scale what you do. So I realized that even though I was being pretty good, I was letting in some extra calories that I hadn't previously. And for me, it's all about volume, because I'm hungry all the time. And so I needed to think of ways that I could stay satisfied on less calories. And that was the only solution for me. I can't do a program of denial. It just won't work for me. So one of the big things that I realized was that I needed to drink more water. We all know we need 8 cups of water a day, but for me, if I hadn't come up with a plan for how to space that out over the day, it would have gotten to be evening, and it would be like, oh, how many cups can I have now to try to get to my 8? And I wouldn't have gotten there. So now I set this rule back in June, and I've kept it up ever since, that I have to have 2 cups before every meal and 2 cups after my PA to add up to the 8. And then beyond that, if I'm feeling like having an extra snack, drink some water first. For me, that it really makes a big difference.
Wow.
And the other thing that made a really big difference was to make sure that every single day, like my phase 2 coach talks about, like your personal minimums. You probably all talk about that, but my personal minimum in phase 2 is to have at least 3 shakes a day, like in phase 1, but also they have to all be high volume shakes. So that means I had to stop having the cereal. I'm not saying you can't lose. I lost all my weight in phase 1 having a cereal every single day. The cereal was great, but for me, for right now, until I get back to where I want to be, they're all shakes that I make in a blender with lots of ice and very few add-ins. And so I've been doing that since late June, and I've lost about 10-ish.
Amazing.
Depending on the day. Maybe today Kate at 7, but about 10-ish of the 20 that I put back on. So I'm getting to where I need to be again.
Incredible. I sort of want to spend time just jotting down all of Karen and Susan's strategies, because you guys have shared so many wonderful things, and just for you to be able to figure out what works for you. I hope people are taking note. Blended shakes, hydration. It's amazing.
And I think it's so great that you can eat more and still lose weight. I mean, I just to keep reminding people that volume is great. So finding those high volume recipes, blended shakes and high volume of vegetables, and you don't have to feel deprived. You can feel really full and you can still lose weight. And that's such a great message. So
not only is that such a great message, it's the only thing that's keeping me going. I never did a plan. I said I started 2.5 years ago. I've never done a plan this long. So without that opportunity to feel satisfied and still do what I want to do with my weight and health, I would have said goodbye to HMR a long time ago.
That makes it sustainable.
I love the notion of us being able to figure out what works for me personally, because we talk about phase 2 goals, but you're an example, Susan, that you aim for 3 blended shakes. That's not something that we ask everyone to do per se. You have figured out that, a couple cups of water with your bouts of foods and snacks, or Karen, your attendance, how crucial that is. So that's something that we all want to be thinking about, is what is something that I am able to correlate to my results, and how can I make sure to plan for it I want to pause for a moment, just make sure that folks who have joined us late know we're here. I'm Coach Kate. I'm joined with Coach Gina and two very successful participants, Karen and Susan. And tonight's theme is turning things around and getting back on track.
Yeah, we have lots of people joining us, so it's great to have you guys here.
I wanted to dive into some specific perspectives. And so Gina, I'd love for you to take the lead so that we can talk about some specific strategies for us all to embrace here.
Yes, absolutely. So we have 4 perspectives to share with you in regards to getting back on track. And the first of those is keeping it simple, keeping it easy. So we love quotes at HMR, and I personally love quotes. And so here is a quote from a Nobel Prize winner. He's a recognized author, a distinguished professor, and he's going to impart some deep wisdom in this quote. So are you ready for this? Now pay attention. Okay.
Write it down.
Write this one down because this is pretty deep. If you want to encourage people to do something, make it easy. Make it easy, right? So it's so normal for us to complicate and overwhelm ourselves. We overthink everything, whether it's setting goals that are too lofty. We try to do too much all at one time. We try to fix everything all at once. It just gets too complicated and it's too overwhelming. And then we often just run the risk of not doing it at all. So by keeping it simple, at least to start, it helps you to get into action. And then that can lead to a little bit more action, and that can lead to a little bit of problem solving. So keeping it simple can be so helpful. Asking yourself, not what I'm going to do tomorrow, but what can I do right now in this moment? And I know for me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed and I just need to keep it simple, I just go make a shake. And I even share this in my classes. I say, when in doubt, shake it out, because I'm never, ever going to get into trouble with the shake. And it always reinforces my weight and my health and how important that is to me. And it's simple. And it kind of just starts to get my head moving in a different direction. And then the next one, and this kind of goes hand in hand with keeping it simple, is practicing a to-do approach. And one of the things I have always loved about HMR is it's all about staying positive. What can I do? And the to-do approach is always more effective, but especially when things are overwhelming. The difference between allowing yourself to say, yes, what can I do, versus no all the time, you can't overstate that. It's so, so important. And so I think it might be fun, Kate, to take a look and see if the audience wants to chime in on any of this, what maybe they do to get.
Absolutely, yeah. I would love for folks to take a moment to post what is something that you do. What is your go-to strategy to stay on track or get back on track? I know, Gina, you had mentioned making a shake, and I feel like I've come such a long way over the years, even thinking about times when I really got off track. It seems very counterintuitive, right? If I just ate calories I didn't want to consume, I'm not hungry. I'm then going to go make a shake, or I'm then going to go have an entree. And I've become quite skilled at that over time. And I find that I'm just kind of right back in action and right back in success cycle. Would love to hear from Karen and Susan and our audience too, as to what is your go-to to get you back on track. What about you, Karen?
I think for me, it's also a shake. If I just can have a shake, whether I make it into a pudding at night, if I'm feeling that snackiness at night, or even grabbing sometimes it's an entree for me. Sometimes it's 8 o'clock and I just want something and I don't know what I want. And I'll make an entree and it satisfies me, because it's not always something sweet that I want. Sometimes it's something savory, and instead of getting, something out of the cabinet or grabbing, I don't even know what would be in there, but I just find that having an entree sometimes, even at 8, 9 o'clock at night, works for me.
Absolutely. What about you, Susan? What's your go-to?
Yeah, I agree with what both of you said, but one thing that I like to do is go for a run, because I feel like when I was obese, I couldn't run. I wanted to run, but I was too heavy and it hurt. And so now when I run, it's like a reminder of what I've been able to do for myself. And I get in that mindset of like, I am this healthy person who runs every day. And it just,
I love that.
I don't know, it's psychological, but it's like, it just reminds me of my mindset. And I feel like for me, that's maybe even the most important thing about PA, maybe even more than the calorie burn, I don't know, but just that mindset that it puts me in of like, yes, this is the kind of person I am.
I love that.
Yeah, I love
We're
that.
getting some really great comments from the audience, and sometimes I feel like, oh, I do what Karen said, and sometimes I do what Susan said, and then I'm looking at comments from Bob, from Pam. I love how Pam said, shakes get my HMR groove back. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely.
Bob said doubling veggies with an entree. You know, you really want something that's going to have you be full and satisfied. So adorable. Really sustain you. I love that strategy, Bob.
And anything with PA helps, 10 minutes even here. I see that listed too. And you know, PA is such a powerful behavior. And I remember listening in a class once, someone said PA is so much more powerful than the calories it burns. So just to piggyback, Susan, off of what you said, I mean, it just puts you in that positive mindset. And so rather than beating yourself up, you're moving forward in a positive direction. So great. So great.
Diane wrote, I've been making pudding with a tablespoon of Cool Whip to curb my sweet tooth. I feel like I can even tell when she's writing that, how much she loves that and how delicious it is.
Yeah, and Sherry writes, reaching out to my coach, that's both a way to get practical help and a way of confronting what I'm doing. So that's a great one, you know, remembering that you're not in it alone, and you can certainly get the help and the support and the accountability really that you need to make these changes. It's great.
Victoria wrote tracking and recording what you're eating. I was laughing when Susan was talking before, because there's been times I felt like, well, if I eat my kids' food at the restaurant, it doesn't count. It's not like I ordered it. And the reality is that what we consume does count. And the act of tracking our HMR behaviors actually has us do more of them. And so if you want to do more of anything, you can literally start with focusing on tracking more frequently, and that'll increase your numbers and behaviors for sure.
Absolutely.
So we've had a chance to talk about keeping it simple. I think that one of our participants even simplified the quote and said, keep it simple. It's so important. I know Rick echoed that too. And then practicing a to-do approach. How reinforcing is that? And one of the things that I also wanted to touch upon tonight, and I'd love to get folks' input into this, is really confronting the fact that sometimes are harder than others. And we want to recognize that, and we want to plan for that. And so I would love for the audience to take a moment to really share with us, what is your witching hour and what do you do about it?
Great.
And I feel like in a very small period of time, I can consume hundreds or thousands of calories. And what is more frustrating than feeling like, gosh, my whole day was going beautifully, and at the snap of a finger, things seem to unravel. So for example, this holiday weekend, I had a sense that things were going to be challenging this Labor Day weekend. So I made it my mission to make some fun and creative HMR creations. I baked the ravioli with the lasagna. I mixed a cereal with a 70+ vanilla, and I added a can of pumpkin and a banana and made like a cereal pumpkin vanilla banana bake. I added a stevia and some pumpkin pie spice too. I don't make this routinely, but I sort of felt like, given the circumstances and what could happen, I needed to really up the ante. So I know folks are already starting to share that. What jumps out to you, Gina, the time that warrants additional planning and focus for you?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the nighttime after dinner. I mean, I can be perfect all day because I'm busy, and then I start watching TV and it's like the cabinet is calling me. And I mean, I at least get steps walking back and forth to the cabinet right before but you know, it's so interesting. And going back to the shake, and I've told this story, but you know, I'll go and I'll take a bite of this, and I'll take a bite of that, and I'll take a bite of this. And when I stop and add up the calories, if I just made a shake, I would have had fewer calories in the shake than all of those bites combined. And so, you know, records are so helpful because it helped me kind of see that. And so my go-to at night is a shake, a double pudding. Sometimes it's a blended mousse because I love I'm like you, Susan, I love the volume. I can relate to that. So I like a lot. And the other thing I'll say, and I know this will come up, is environment. You know, if those cookies are there from Costco, I'm going to eat them. Yeah. So I asked my husband not to bring them back in the house. And that helps, certainly. So yeah, that's what my tough time and what I do. So see, we're getting a lot of things on the feed here. Karen?
Yeah, it would almost be fun to take a poll because it seems like a lot of folks have the evening challenge. That's my tough time too.
Yeah.
It's my toughest time. And, you know, we're thinking about going back into the office and we're having, I feel like things are ramping up at work. And through this whole COVID thing, I've been working out during the day because that's been the times that I've been able to get into my gym. So I've actually been trying to schedule 6:30 workouts at the gym. So when I come home at 7:30, I jump in the shower and there's a double pudding already in the refrigerator. And I usually have either a double shake at like 4 or a big salad at 4 so that I don't have too much in my stomach going to work out. And then being there during that time, I come home and I feel better because I've just worked out, right? So I've taken a shower. Now it's 8:30 and I'm like, oh, a pudding will satisfy me till morning.
That's a good one.
It's an amazing plan. And kind of thinking back to when Gina was saying like all the bites and had I just had the shake, I regret having that HMR food, said no one ever.
No.
Right.
So thinking about your evening, Karen, and your structure, and you have the PA and the, you know, couple shakes ready is impressive.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot on the feed here. And Victoria says, haven't HMR cereal with fresh apple bake. I'm going to bake it after this class.
Oh, nice.
I love that you think of this as a class, Victoria. That's
It's so
awesome.
great.
I love it. And someone wrote, supporting and encouraging to hear that I'm not alone in the nighttime witching hour. Thank you for bringing this one up. Perfect. Yeah, this is a good space to get some good ideas. So write them down if you hear anything good.
Susan, what about you? What is your tough time and what is your go-to strategy?
I mean, the evening, of course, has been challenging, but right now, I'm just back to school as of last week. And for me, I've noticed that when I have some work to do, I'm a special ed teacher, so there's a lot of paperwork. When I have to do some like desk work that I don't want to do, all of a sudden I'm like, I think I'm hungry. Right. So that's been coming up again. You know, I kind of had the summer off of that, but now it's coming up again, being back at work. So, you know, the thing with that is I'm at work. So I can't go to my fridge and see what's in there. So like whatever I brought with me is what I've got. And I think it's especially important while I'm at work to have, you just have to have a plan. Like you have to plan everything ahead. So like I have all the drinks that I'm going to drink, all the shakes. I've been pre-making shakes and freezing them the night before. It's just, there's so much that you have to plan ahead so that you can be ready for the moment, whatever your moment is, that's going to be your weak spot. If you already have a plan for it ahead of time, and it's not just planned, but like ready to go, like Karen said, having the shake ready or the pudding after the workout, you're setting yourself up for success.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know, Gina, if anybody's also talked on
the,
sorry, I don't know. Weekends are also a big struggle for me. And that's where my planning comes into. I plan more on the weekends and I try to have shakes. And I actually bought like a little frother to take with me so that I don't always have to have my shake because I don't know, there's just something about shaking them. I'm used to having such high volume shakes that I thought if I had a frother, and it actually worked this weekend. I had the frother and I had a bottle of water and I just made it and it thickened it up a little bit bigger than, I don't know, it was probably just me. It was a mind thing. I felt like it was a bigger shake than just shaking it. So that really helped me for the weekend, but weekends are struggling. I'm already preparing for this weekend today. I made pumpkin muffins today. I roasted a bunch of vegetables to have. I placed an order for a veggie platter to take with me to one thing. So like it's Thursday and I'm already planning because I'm stressed out. I have 2 events this weekend and I'm like, I need to stay on plan. I need to stay in my phase 2 box. So that requires me to go into some of my phase 1 strategies, which is, front loading, double shakes, making the baked goods that I'll feel like I'm eating what other people are eating. So it's weekends and nights are my toughest.
Yeah.
Planning is my best strategy.
So many great strategies. So I hope people are taking notes because lots of really good ideas coming out of this. This is great, really great.
And when Gina mentioned environmental control, that's really setting our environments up for success. And when you were talking about, if the cookies are there, you'll eat them. We all will.
Mhm.
And when I was just hearing, Karen and Susan's examples of, having the shake with a frother or having the double pudding ready or having the frozen shakes. I love to freeze shakes because then I like to eat them with a spoon when they're thawing out. You've already done the prep. So in the split second that you might open the fridge or the cabinets, because I'm always poking around for things, we will grab what we see. And so we really want to make sure that we have easily accessible what we want to say yes to.
Right.
And we do not have accessible what we don't want to say yes to.
And it's all about creating those yes environments. So going back to the to-do approach, creating a yes environment. I can say yes to that and that feels good. So I love that. It's really helpful.
I hope folks are looking at the feed too, because we have some great specific examples of, 70 plus and freezing it, making a double, lots of really nice tips here, the apple bacon more.
A couple people would like Susan to talk more about freezing her shakes and how she does that. Because there seems to be some interest in that. So
okay. I don't know if anybody from my Monday night group is here, but I apologize in advance because they've heard me talk about this like way too much already. But it was something that, I had to, I said like, oh, school's starting and I have like this new routine and I don't want to mess it up. What can I do? And so, so here's what I came up with. First of all, double shakes work for people, but for me, for right now, I'm trying to maximize the number of times I get to eat in a day. So I actually stopped having double shakes so that I can have 3 separate shakes. And I found that if I make them with enough ice, sometimes you can make one shake that is as big as 2 shakes or as a double shake. I don't know. So anyways, I also don't really like all the tedious, you get out the blender, you use it, you have to clean it afterwards. So here's what I do. I make my evening shake in the evening, and then without cleaning the blender, it's still freshly used. I make my afternoon shake for the next day, put that in the freezer, and then without cleaning the blender, I make my morning shake for the next day, but I don't put in the ice. And this is an idea that Coach Nancy had suggested to me a while back, and I've been doing it ever since, well, on work days anyways. I have a shake that is all prepared except for the ice, and I put that in the fridge. And then in the morning, I add the ice to it and I blend it, and I have that in the car on my way to work. And the thing about it is that I really prefer the consistency of a freshly made shake. It just, I found that if I make it with a little less water and more ice, it just comes out so much like soft serve ice cream. And when I freeze it, even though like you, Kate, I do get to eat it with a spoon because it's thawing, it just, I don't know, the ice gets more crystallized. It's not as smooth anymore. So like I told Coach Melissa yesterday, we had our coaching call yesterday because of Labor Day Monday. I don't like it as much, but I'm doing it because I think it's really important for me to stay on track. So you do what you have to do.
It's like an Italian ice texture that then turns into a liquid if you let it thaw versus a soft serve.
That's exactly what it's like. Yep.
But it's sometimes nice to eat something with a spoon for a little bit too, but it's different.
Yeah. And I love that you're efficient with your blender. So you don't have to, right? Because that can get in the way sometimes. So that's great. That's really great.
So we've heard some really great strategies for getting back on track, how we tackle the tough times, whether it be the evening, the weekend, what you are already doing, Karen, to set yourself up for success. I know a number of people mentioned the 4 to 7 p.m. time, the afternoon pre-dinner time, and certainly we know it can happen then. So this is all about us thinking about, what is my tough time? What is the next step I can take, keeping it simple? And a couple of folks actually, Karen and Susan, and a number of folks in the feed also mentioned physical activity. Physical activity as a strategy to stay on track or get back on track. Gina, what are your thoughts about bouts and PA? Talk to us about it.
Well, it's funny you should mention, because we talked about that in class this week, didn't we, Karen?
We did.
Yeah, so we've been talking about PA, and we highlighted the small bouts of PA, and really that there is such a benefit to small bouts of PA. And, you know, it kind of goes along with our theme, really, if you think about it, of keeping it simple and practicing something that you can do. And I think with PA sometimes, you know, it's all or nothing. Either I do it all, the hour, or I'm going to do nothing. And so sometimes with PA, if you can just do 10 minutes, it's something rather than nothing, and it's getting you in action, and action leads to more action. And then guess what happens? You feel motivated. So people often wait to feel motivated to do PA, right? We want to feel motivated to start it. And very often it's just about getting into action. So these smaller bouts of PA are really helpful to just get you in action. They allow you to problem solve. And then it sometimes can be the start if you're really trying to get back on track. And Kate, there's some research. I'll let you share that research because it's pretty cool. Pretty interesting.
Absolutely. So we had a chance, Gina and I, to connect, and it was a meta-analytic review. I'm sure either of us could hold up the document. If anyone wants it, it was in a science journal in 2019. But there were a lot of really nice conclusions here. In such a small amount of time, how many improvements were seen. And so some of the conclusions, I'll just go ahead and read them to you guys. Splitting a continuous bout of exercise into 2 shorter bouts of equivalent total duration spread over the day does not alter the potential to provide health benefits. So if you're breaking up a bout into 2, it does not alter the ability to have benefits. And in fact, for weight, so this was actually health benefits, fitness, blood pressure, lipids, insulin, glucose. So we could simplify it and say 60 minutes once or 2 30s. There was no decrease in health outcomes when it was in the 2 bouts. For weight loss, splitting a single exercise into multiple bouts spread across the day may actually prove greater benefits. Yeah. Multiple bouts may even be more effective than the one. And if you think about it, one could easily become none, or I could do something in the morning and then I'm literally sitting my entire day. And so would love for the audience to take a moment to share, how do bouts of PA support you? How do they help you stay on track? How do they help you stay motivated? And what about you, Karen? How do you use PA as a strategy to help you stay on track?
Oh, PA is one of those things that I just have to do every day. I actually did three little workouts before this meeting because my day just got away from me. One thing I will say about the past 18 months being home and gyms closing and having to restructure my PA, having to do it by Zoom, and then when my gym actually opened, having to schedule ahead of time and then have penalties for canceling, it's really, really made me plan my PA. So I have it on my calendar. I have a reoccurring class. It's on my calendar. My time is blocked. So really planning it out. And for me, I have a very bad back. And in February, I was walking and doing all my walking and actually fell at my boss's house getting signatures and ended up herniating 2 discs again. And it just really went back to, my PA is important. So I do my physical therapy because I've had back surgery. So I do that every day. But just getting out and walking 10 minutes or doing 5 minutes or going to my yoga class. This was a huge thing for me, was going to my 90-minute yoga class, not being able to stand up straight, not being able, like I was hunched over to the side. So when they gave me a chair so I could sit, and it really focused on my upper body without having to balance on my legs. And when I got to a point where I could stand up through that injury, my practice was so much stronger, because now that I'm balancing, I've built that strength up in my upper body, or I've used it in a different way and really was able to focus on that. So I think not only is it very motivating and gets you in, it's attainable, it's also great, to build your strength for people that might feel like, I've never exercised. How am I going to get out there? Well, you go for 5 minutes, and, in a month, you'll be doing 10 minutes. And in 6 months, you'll be doing 20 minutes. And it just keeps building and modifying moves and all of that. It just continues to build strength. So I think for me, with the injuries that I've had to my back, learning to modify and doing small bouts is better than nothing.
Absolutely.
And it just helps me feel better.
And it's that positive message. It's what you can do, so rather than the message being, I can't do it. Well, no, you can just modify and do a smaller bout. So yeah, it's great message.
And just 5 or 10 minutes, it's just obvious how much better you feel, Karen, when you do it in a short period of time. What about you, Susan? Tell us about your PA and what a difference it makes for you. Did we lose Susan for a second?
We might have lost her. She looks a little frozen.
She looks frozen. Well, at least she's frozen nicely.
I'm like, Susan is excellent. Susan exited to go for a jog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some really great comments. So folks look through the feed to just share. Julie wrote, I do bouts of PA, whether it be 10-minute brisk walk in the morning before a shake, a 30-minute walk after dinner. I'm trying to build her PA to walk longer, which is exactly what you were talking about, Karen.
Yeah. And Ann writes, PA has been the main constant since leaving HMR. I enjoy working out and have arranged my schedule to make sure it happens. 2, sometimes 3 higher intensity workouts. Great. Keeping the behavior going. Yeah. I do bouts of PA, whether it's 10 minutes, brisk walk in the morning before my first shake, or 30 minutes after dinner.
Love it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Great.
like I try to go at lunch, and I when I'm in the office, I don't feel like I walk around. I feel like I walk around more when I'm in the office. So being home, I actually set an alarm. I actually have my calendar every hour at like 10 of, I have it set, and I just get up, even if I just get up, or I have a standing desk luckily at home. I just stand my desk up and I can do squats while I'm typing, or, just walk to the kitchen and back, or go downstairs. It makes a huge difference.
Jennifer wrote, right when I started, I focused on chair cardio as I wasn't physically able to do much. So the approach, like you were saying, Gina, is what can I do? And I can do something.
Yeah, we've had some rainy weather here in New England this summer, and so my walk sometimes we have stairs right in this building, and so a couple flights up and down those stairs. I mean, it's not my 45-minute walk, but it's certainly better than just sitting at my desk for hours on end. So those little bouts are so helpful as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also like to add that in, like when we go someplace, I'll park further away, and adding those little minutes up. It's maybe not a bout of it, but I try to get in extra steps wherever I can.
And look for those opportunities to just move. Remind yourself that it's important to do. Looks like we lost Susan.
Hopefully Susan will come back.
She'll come back, right? Exactly.
Should we bring this home, Gina?
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty.
Absolutely. I think there's been a lot of good conversation. So I hope people took notes, and I think we want to hold people accountable a little bit, Kate, right?
Yeah. This has been all about get back on track, stay on track. Is there something that I could do a little bit extra, a little bit different to be successful? So if anyone has any takeaways from tonight, I'm going to do this at this time. I'm going to set this goal for myself. We would love for you to take an opportunity to share What are you committed to doing this week because you opted to join us this evening?
Or maybe even right now. Maybe we
Oh, yes.
we inspired people.
Absolutely. So this has been such a fun evening. I hope Susan can chime in so she can join our wrap up. But
She says
what
she's
a
on her
pleasure.
phone. But
She is on. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And yeah, great. I just
Yeah, it's just been so exciting to be with Coach Gina this evening, with Karen and Susan. And if you are watching and you have felt like things have not gone your way, be kind to yourself, keep it simple, and think about what can I do next? Perhaps when we wrap up this evening, you will go to the blender and make a shake.
Absolutely.
And we want you to know that we have such an incredible community. You can ask questions, you can ask for help, you can ask for advice, and we can promise that many folks will be supporting you and commenting for you. I also wanted to mention that this is now a weekly Thursday evening Facebook Live. So we are back to every Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern, and we would love to have you join us.
Excellent. This has been great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all for a wonderful evening.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.